Good morning. Another glorious day out there. Everything is upside down, isn't it? It's a bit chilly, but wow. When you just look up and see the blue, ethereal sky for going on forever. Something hits you, something deep inside. I think to open the window, the door to get some sound of. Do you hear that cockerel? I don't know whether you can, whether the speaker picks it up, but there's a cockerel down there somewhere which wakes me in the morning and keeps everything going. So let us just arrive. Let us just notice we are here in this moment, in whatever room you're in whatever place you're in. Just sit, take a breath, notice, become present here. Our lives are really focused and controlled by our thoughts, our perceptions, and our reality. I mean, it may sound a very sort of obvious thing to say, but when we realize the obvious, when we pay attention to the normal, which actually is not normal at all, it gives it more quality, essence, and depth. Because the dear old autopilot of the mind just sort of gets us to glance over everything. You can look at things and not notice them if they've been there for a long time. I mean, sitting up here on the shelf, there's a large fur coat, and I hardly look at it. But then when you really do observe it, and you take a look at the shape and the spine and the curves and everything about it, it's an amazing creation. It is so perfect. The perfection of this pine cone is incredible. If you or I created this by sitting there, whittling away, chiseling away, carving away, we'd be so proud of it. And yet, because it's just a pine cone, we'll often walk past it in the woods and not even notice it. See it in a shop and not even notice it. And in that way, we depreciate our real life for the thought of the life. Or we just don't notice it because the autopilot goes, yeah, I know that. I've seen a pine cone before. And you wander on thinking about, what am I going to do next Thursday? I've got to meet Jane. And if I'm meeting Jane, well, I wonder if Andrea is going to be there at the same time. And you're not actually present. And if we notice that we're not present, it's good, because we can then become present. We can really look, see, experience. And that opens up the connection. So it dumbs down this slightly. So we're not quite saying, but it keeps it sharp and clear like a laser, so it can listen to the other things which are going on around you, the other things which are available for you. And when you really get that, you realize that life is very abundant all the time. You see, we can fall into a scarcity complex. There's not enough, especially if you listen to the radio or the news. There's not enough. Disaster, awful, fear, scare. It's not true. It's not true. What is truth? But it's not true because it's just a perspective from a criteria or an evaluation they're talking about. The world is an incredibly abundant place. It gives us everything we need. Not everything we want, but everything we need. And therefore, waking up with mindfulness inverted commas, the autopilot not rattling and prattling on quite so much. And you understand the autopilot. The autopilot is the way we automatically switch ourselves into coping with things without noticing things. And therefore you won't actually see, because the brain saves energy by going back to memories of, rather than spending energy taking in the actuality of what is. It takes more effort to be present than it does to be switched off and not notice. It's very, very useful in the learning system of so many things we have to do physiologically in the body, and even the daily actions like learning to get dressed. If we had to learn to get dressed every morning and don't do it on autopilot, then it would be dreadfully difficult. However, there's also a way of being aware of it, and it's a practice, because you can notice what you're doing, not judge it, notice it and adapt it. I went outside half an hour ago, and the sun was just coming up over the neighbour's sort of sheds or extension or whatever he's got there, and the sun was just hitting here on my face and my head, and I felt it. I stopped and I just stood in this morning first rays of the sunlight. It was wonderful. It was truly glorious. I mean, really, really amazing. The first rays of the day, to really feel them. You see, I was going to go into positive thinking today, because if we're on autopilot, if we're half asleep, if we're not paying attention to the moment, then we're running on the old thoughts. And as I said the last few days, where do your thoughts come from? Your thoughts run you. They create your perception, but you don't create your thoughts. You're a product of your thoughts. Your thoughts, no one knows where they come from. Like I say, the neurologists haven't a clue how it all works. But what I do know is that if you can change the creation of the thought process by building new neural pathways, i.e., do your mindfulness meditation, become more aware, be more in the present, and that creates thoughts which are driving you more into the being more present skill, being here skill, so that you think about that more, so that when you do go into the garden or go outside, you actually notice what's happening, because that part of the brain has been optimized. And like I said before, we have this reticular activation system, which is the back of the brain working with the front of the brain, and it figures out what it thinks you think is most important. And if you keep working with the mindfulness and keep saying to yourself and practicing with yourself, this is important to sit and to open my perception, my consciousness to the moment. So I listen to the birds. I feel, I use my five senses, then it thinks, oh, this is important for Huw, therefore I must keep on reminding him. And therefore it sends the thoughts through saying, when the sun hit me, oh, it reminds me. And the same goes with positive thinking. Because if your thought processes are constantly negative, constantly full of scarcity and lack, and there isn't enough, then you're going to believe that, because you're going to be driven to believe that by yourself, by your own thought processes, by your own neural pathways creating a predominance of scarcity, lack, fear, which means you want to hold on to things more, to be more safe, to protect yourself more, which is a very natural thing if it was balanced. But it's not balanced because it's imbalanced by our system of communication and information technology, which is overwhelming us with knowledge which we don't know anything about. And then you get this whole thing of fake news, and you haven't got a clue what's coming in. It's just made up by other people's thoughts. So we have to take responsibility for ourselves, meaning wake up, come back to the moment, take a breath, listen. I hear a truck going up the road as well at the moment by the sound of it, the echo of the sound. But I can then go in two ways. I can either go, oh, that's awful, I was listening to the birds just now. Or I can just say, truck, let it go. Let's listen to the birds and feel the sunshine. We always have a choice. With positive thinking, we always have a choice. Every time you feel yourself going down into an emotional catastrophe, into an emotional spiral, you have a choice. You have half a second to catch the incoming thought as it arises about, oh, how awful it's going to be. And you don't even say that because it's just a feeling. You could then switch back into, actually, it's a great day today. This moment now is all I have. And in this moment, it's wonderful. Now you could say, well, that's just telling yourself a story, Huw. Yeah, but it's a damn sight better story than telling myself life is shit. Because if I do the second, then I fire off chemicals here which make me drop my shoulders and my back, and it takes my tummy away, and I think about all the things I haven't got, and I haven't done, and I can't do, and there's nobody there for me anyway, and I haven't got enough. So I immediately drop myself into a spiral of negativity. Then someone says, can I? And you go, no, I can't do that. Because you've got no oomph, you've got no dynamicism to do it with. But if you just stand in the sun and go, wow, you look at the sky and go, wow, and you look at the trees, the leaves, the yellow-green leaves blowing in the breeze, and you go, wow, that's amazing. Now is amazing. This part of the brain goes, wow, now this is amazing. So it fires off serotonin, dopamine, and goes, wow, that's really great. Then someone says, Huw, can you do that? Yeah, sure, I can do it. Not a problem. Because you feel positive. That then becomes a neural pathway. A neural pathway meaning a habit. Therefore, the back of the brain goes, oh, this is a really good thing. Huw likes doing this. So every time that comes up, I go up rather than down. It ain't rocket science. It's just about listening to yourself, understanding how you set yourself up, and learning to change it. That's the trick. We have, if we wish, you don't have to do anything. If you wish to be happier, you use the power of the focused attention in the moment, the mindfulness, to be able to notice the arisings of the thoughts so you can change them. It doesn't happen overnight, but nothing good ever does. It takes time. This day didn't just happen after the 3 weeks of grayness in January. No, it takes time. Everything takes time. Life is slow. It's fast. The only fast things are in movies. So, positive thoughts. Because you believe what you think. And if you believe things are negative, difficult, there isn't enough, then that's what's going to happen. Watch your thoughts. Come back to the moment. Have focus. Learn to see the opposite side of the negativity. Look at the silver lining in the cloud. Don't always listen to that which we've lost. Don't always fall into the trap of the negative emotion. Because if you keep doing that, and no doubt we've all done it for many years, it becomes you, and you become a rather uninteresting, grumpy, relatively low energized human being. And at this moment in time, the planet needs all of us to be incredibly clear, incredibly positive, and very much out there being creative at the same time, so that we can really help, if there's a possibility, to shift the direction of where we're going as a global culture, so that we can live sustainably, environmentally, collectively together. And it's possible. We just have to diminish the fear, diminish the lack of trust. Enough talking. As always, it's easy to talk. It's easy to talk. The key, the basis, is the practice. And we start by just relaxing the body. Breathing out, relaxing down, coming to the moment, listening, feeling, smelling, tasting, experiencing. I had a bit of a bounce, a bit of a shake up, everything bouncing up and down. And throw it all down. Throw it all down. Throw it all down. Hands on knees, rolling the knees around. Opening the knees out. Bringing them back. Dropping down to the floor. Hands on hips. Dropping down. Breathing out, opening the spine, dropping the head down, loosening the neck and the shoulders, and slowly coming up. over to the left, over to the right. Shoulders. Hands. Back to back, right over left. Head backwards and forwards. Rolling it around and then leaning and by leaning to the side. All the way around. We're doing rubbing the face. Ears. Top and bottom lip. Eyes. Eyebrows. Head. Tap the head. Tap the back. And your back. And just stand. Breathe in and out. Bring down, breathe in the new day. Breathe out the stagnant old of yesterday. Breathe in the new earth. Draw up the sweet earth of nature. And draw up and roll the hands. Just roll the hands. Focusing your attention on your hands, on the skin, the bones, the muscles, the feelings. And close. Good. So, keeping the same quality. You see, mindfulness or meditation isn't necessarily sitting cross-legged on a cushion. By doing those exercises, we're being meditative. We're focusing our attention in the moment on the body. And you can feel the difference in the mind. So let's just drop away now, keeping that feeling there, taking a breath, being nice and present, breathing in and breathing out, allowing yourself to appreciate the sweetness of this moment. As your mind begins to wander, as the thoughts begin to pop up and create the consciousness, focus on purpose to change the flow of the thoughts. Consciously bringing your mind back to your breath. Why the breath? Because the breath is always available. It's always in the present moment. When I breathe in, this is the present moment. And when I breathe out, this is the present moment. My consciousness is in the present moment. When I have a thought, it's based on the past, projecting into the future. That isn't the present moment. We want to be more in the present moment. This opens up our consciousness to our heart, our well-being, our vitality and life now. Our life can become richer and cleaner and clearer and calmer and more rewarding. So follow the breath, breathing in and breathing out. Don't be confused by the simplicity of this. It's very profound. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathing in, push your tummy out. Breathing out, bring your tummy in. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Keep that focus of attention 100% in the moment. Breathing in, push your tummy out. Breathing out, bring your tummy in. Keep that focus of attention on the breath. Train your mind to be in the moment. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Just relax the effort, but keep the attention. Listen to the sounds of the birds, if you can, coming in from the garden, or those sensations which are around you in the moment. Keep the attention on what you can hear. Notice, put a word to it, but don't go off on a thought-driven story about it. Notice where your mind is and bring it back to the next breath, the next feeling, the next sensation, the next sound. Don't become agitated. Don't become impatient. Just come back to the breath, back to the moment, back to the next sensation. Practice being here in the sensations of your life in this moment. Notice how the mind wanders and draw it back like that kite on a silk thread. The thoughts are like the wind. They push you in a direction. They create an opportunity to think of other things and draw back and come back to the moment. Just for these brief moments, these brief minutes where we're sitting together. Focus in this moment. Keep the effort to notice, to create the meta-consciousness, to be present. Now shifting the attention into the moment still, I want you to draw in and breathe in this early morning bright sunlight. Put a smile on the face of it and bring it into you, going into every cell, every molecule of the body. Have bright, smiling eyes. Listen with smiling ears. Breathe with a smiling nose. Taste with a smiling mouth. Feel your whole body with a smiling body, resonating with brightness, zingy, smiley light. Every breath you bring in, it fills the body with brightness and lightness and ease. Make it smiling, make it glorious, make it happy. Then draw up from the earth the happiness of the earth's center, the heart of the earth. Draw up the bright, energetic magma light and energy and weave it into a tapestry in amongst the threads of the bright light, sunlight coming down. Feel it, notice it, experience it. Bring it to your heart and share it. Visualize with your mind your loved ones. Hold them in the bright light and then share it with your friends, those people you know. Send them the bright, golden, smiling light. Then to those who are suffering, those who are ill and sick, fearful, worried, alone, desperate. And to those you fall out with, send them the light, this healing, bright, smiling light. Into all the other people in the world, the other 7 billion. Think of them, share with them, send light to them. And then to Mother Earth, the blue planet, Gaia. And then to the whole of the planetary universe around us. And gently come back to yourself and give yourself a hug of approval, appreciation, and acknowledgement, and rest in the brightness of the smiling light. Well, I wish you all a wonderful day. If you like what I'm doing and you haven't subscribed to the subscribe button yet, please do that. The more I dig into YouTube, the more I realize it's important that number goes up. So, or give me a like or whatever on the sort of the electronic side of things. In reality, have a really good day. Enjoy yourselves. Be aware. Notice. And I'll see you all tomorrow. Take care.